The Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
Special guest, the superstar who is stealing all the scenes in Jesus Christ Superstar, and he doesn't play Jesus Christ, let me tell you. He plays Herod. The one and only Reuben. Kaye's back in the house.
And I'm nailing it.
You are.
I'm nailing
You're
it.
just telling us how good you are.
Look, before I get on to how brilliant I am, how talented I am, and
Yes.
how underpaid I am.
No doubt.
I was a little late to the studio today, so I got you two a little prezi.
Oh, stop it.
I did. I got you a little prezi.
Oh.
They're balls.
Oh, and you had them waxed.
You
Lovely.
know the way to our hearts. I'll have
protein-
one of your balls.
You call them protein balls, do you?
Sure. Sure. If you're on a health kick, just be careful because they've got nuts in.
Absolutely, Reuben.
Any man that brings us balls is all right with us, isn't he, Shaun?
Absolutely, Reuben. We love having you in here, but more importantly, not
And
for your
balls.
balls is all,
you.
but because it's early mornings and you're a performer at night, so we just like to do this for a bit of a piss up.
To destroy your soul.
You do it to torture me, but
Yeah.
my secret is I haven't been to bed yet. So joke's on you.
Where do you go all night in Perth on a Tuesday
Well,
night?
I volunteer at the RSPCA. I was just helping 4 of the Western Bulldogs out of a sticky situation.
Sorry, I've got a little bit of Reuben Kaye's ball in my mouth.
I know. Can't you taste the coconut? I don't know what lotion he wears, but geez.
Yeah, thank you for bringing those in, Reuben.
Well, I'm a giver.
Now, not much. I'm just spitting peanut butter everywhere. Not many more performances left before you guys finish up with Jesus Christ Superstar.
We're on the home run, the final countdown here in Boorloo. I'm amazed at how quickly it's gone. It's been I love this city. I come back every year for Fringe. It's one of my favourites. But I really thought, the month with Jesus Christ Superstar, we'll have time to luxuriate in it. But from the opening night till now feels like a blink.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun and getting sunburnt.
Do you actually get tired as the weeks go on, or do you find more energy at different parts to be able to maintain the performance over a month?
I think it depends on how much meth we're consuming.
Yeah, I agree with that.
No, it's the city.
Way to get in with the locals.
Yeah, it's the state dish. We cook it over spoons. No, certainly with the runs, we do kind of, as the weeks go on, we start to go, okay, cool, yep, we're going, and we do get tired. But that's when your discipline, your motivation, that's when we all band together. That's when we start coming up with little game side stage to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
There was an occasion on the Last Supper where I was side staged in an inflatable T-Rex outfit. Because if we're going to talk about Jesus, we have to talk about evolution and dinosaurs.
Exactly, the two do go hand
That
in
was my
hand.
argument when they pulled me into the office
Yes.
and gave me my first warning.
Is that true?
Not my first one, but they're like, Reuben, we might just not. I don't.
Maybe
think you
not.
know,
Draw the line at
full costumes side stage. You know, the costumes need to be on stage. But then again, at one point, I was dressed up as Elphaba in the crucifixion side stage with a green light and a cape, kind of doing defying gravity.
This is a classic thing that performers do off stage to try and just sort of keep things interesting. Because I remember seeing an interview with Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who's famous for Fleabag, obviously, but she was in some sort of play somewhere, and she was doing this where it escalated, got bigger and bigger every night until finally she went fully nude. So somebody had to open a door, and she was just standing out of sight, completely nude, and then they closed the door and had to carry on.
You want to put people off if you can, because you've been working together for so long.
And yeah, we've got to keep it into. And I'll tell you, apart from like my number, the show doesn't have. Why am I looking at you?
That's Amy, our producer.
Staring at the other people in the room. They're not the talent. They're not why I'm here. The show, apart from my number, doesn't really have any laughs. It's really quite serious. And for someone like me, the great joy is really seeing how good some of these music theatre actors are at their job.
Yes.
So if I can keep it lively, and I'll say it started with me just with a clown nose side stage.
Yeah.
It started with a little sign saying, shh, don't tell anyone, but I'm peeing. Like little things. And I will say, over the course of the 3 months in Sydney, it suddenly escalated to me as Elphaba or me
as a
in an
T-Rex.
inflatable T-Rex costume mauling one of the guys and reenacting Jurassic Park.
So full frontal nudity is not too far away?
Do you know what?
Oh, it's happened, surely.
It can't happen because my costume is so intricately laced at the back.
Oh, right.
I can't get in or out
Without assistance.
a lot of assistance, and that means I have to very much time my fluid intake.
Oh, yes.
Because once I'm in, I'm in.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple of moments in Sydney where I think I need to.
I have not timed it right.
I have not timed this right. My body has betraying me, and I had to. And my dresser just looked at me and went, "It's your problem, mate." Because there's no time. There's no time to unlace me out of this thing.
Yes. Yeah.
There's no zip. There's no little secret panel I could pull aside for anything.
No little button flap at the back.
No. Oh, wouldn't that like a little sailor boy outfit? And I just had to grimace and bear and the flop sweat in that number in Sydney as I'm sitting there hitting these notes, running up and down this big cross in heels, all the pressure on my pelvic floor, which is normally quite tightly sprung.
I've heard.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
A lot of people are talking about that.
It's featured on an episode of The Block. I think Dave Hughes has bought it. That I ran off stage the minute I got off stage, and I was like, "You get me out of this thing!"
You just
right
want to be
now.
cut out of it at that point.
I'm about to ruin the floor here.
And the costume forever.
The costume forever.
Because you don't want to get it back into it after what was about to happen there.
Absolutely not. It'll remind me of a night in Berlin. And a lot of asparagus.
Hey, if you're remembering nights in Berlin, you didn't do Berlin right.
Hey, Reuben, being in the entertainment industry, how far are you looking ahead of what you're doing next year? So for us guys, we've got an ongoing contract that's set for a few years, whatever the case is.
Lucky man.
Yeah, so how long do you know that you've got employment for the rest of the year? And then the second part too, because you're doing different things. When we're all doing tax time, we just get one, group statement type of thing. Are you...
Nah, tax time is an existential crisis for me. It's full because tax time is not just like, oh, how much money have I not made? Yes. And how much money that I haven't made am I now giving to the government?
Yes.
But it's also a case of, I actually haven't worked that much. Or, I've done this job and this job and this job and this job, but what actually am I?
Yeah.
It's an interesting time, I think. It changes for every performer, and it changes from year to year how far ahead you look. Because you're only ever as good as your last gig.
Yeah, of course.
And suddenly the gig you're in now, which might be your best gig, like Jesus Christ Superstar, is suddenly your last gig.
Comes to an end,
Oh, what now?
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing for the next half of the year, which I'm very lucky to say. I can't say what it is, but
so there's a big project that we'll find out about soon. And you're doing shows for the Melbourne Comedy Festival as well.
Yeah, for Jesus Christ Superstar, I'm doing a whole bunch of other things on the sideline.
Yes.
JC Superstar was so lovely because they went, look, we know who we're hiring.
Yes.
In many different ways. We know who we're hiring, and we want you to be able to do your own shows at the same time if that's what you want to do. So I'm able to do the Melbourne Comedy Festival, the Darwin Comedy Festival, the Sydney Comedy Festival.
You're doing Adelaide, aren't you?
No, I've already done Adelaide.
Okay, you're in Adelaide.
No. 1 second.
Adelaide Fringe is happening now.
Adelaide Fringe.
I'm not doing Adelaide Fringe. I'm doing another festival in Adelaide around June.
Right.
If you can think of a festival in Adelaide that starts around June, then that's the one I'm in. But because they're not on sale yet, I can't say which it is, but I can drop several hints.
It's in Adelaide. It's in June. It's like that's not too hard to figure out, is it?
A lot of, and they love cabaret artists.
Okay.
So
I know the one.
blatant plugs here. I think every performer or every artist is always got their fingers in a whole bunch of pies and trying to make sure there's something in the can coming your way after. But it's not always the case.
Yeah, do you have a manager that is fielding requests for you, or if somebody wants to hire you, do they just call you?
Right. No, they can't call me. They have to call a manager, and they're in a secure location, and they have
in a bunker.
A lot of therapy. There's a lot of emotional support dogs hanging around them.
Yeah.
I think again, it's 3 of the Western Bulldogs.
You've got most of the team covered at this point.
Well, do you know what? Just lend out a couple of doggy bowls and a puppy mat, an enrichment activity, and they're fine.
Yeah.
Oh,
a Mickey
absolutely.
mat.
Has it been a time? I mean, obviously now things have been going gangbusters for a while. We got to speak to you a number of times, but do you remember what it's like to really scramble to get your next
Funny
role?
you say this, because because the nominations just came out for the Green Room Awards in Victoria, and we got a slew of them, a mate of mine called me to congratulate me and just said, hey, do you remember when you were living in a bus in London, stealing silverware from
And it was an actual working bus, so it stopped regularly and let people on.
I was just up the seats in the back. No, it was this old bus in Stepney Way, which is like a crappy part of Whitechapel before Whitechapel had boomed into that kind of trendy neighbourhood. And it was a bus. It had a wooden floor. The seats had been ripped out. It had a bench and a mattress. And it was up on blocks. It didn't have wheels.
How cold was it in winter?
Oh, mate, it was freezing, and it had no heating, it had no electricity.
No.
The only electricity was a power board and an extension cord through a window.
Yes, so the window had to be open. Oh, the pub.
That my mate was squatting in, and I was renting the bus to me for 20 quid a week. But at night, any rain or anything, I'd have to unplug my heater and wrap that electrical cord in a towel.
Yeah.
And the only lock on the door was a padlock. If I was in the bus, I had to padlock it inside.
Yeah.
Because people would come and bang on it and stuff at night. It was on a thoroughfare. And if I was leaving, I had to padlock it outside and hope that when I came back...
Your power board was still there.
We were so cold at night, I had to just pull all my clothes on top of me as well. But also I was working as a butler in a members club in Pall Mall. The most rich, old, aristocratic, gin-blossomed, thick-necked people.
You would make a great butler.
I was brilliant.
You would have been brilliant.
But these people were sort of caricatures. Well, you've got to marry in the family. It keeps the money there. And they'd stumble up to me at 8 a.m. with their empty glass going, "You, boy, red wine, here." And I was just eating pigeon and grouse off their plate and eating like a king, stealing silverware, taking it back to my bus and selling it on Gumtree and Brick Lane. And I was earning £6.50 an hour, which in London goes...
Yeah.
No, £6.50, sorry, £6.50 minimum wage before tax.
Yeah.
And just trying to figure out what it was I was going to do.
So now you earn $12.50. It's amazing.
Yeah, and my agent takes a cut.
How long did you stay in that bus for? A lot of people out there have done their tours of London, stayed in London, and really had to grovel around the place.
People and stuff, but
I was there for 6 months. I was there for 6 months until I got my first touring gig, and that touring gig was when I was like, oh, I'm touring, but then you go touring. It was Evita, actually. It was Evita the musical.
Yes.
And I was playing Magaldi, who's the cabaret singer in Act 1, because the rest of the show is sort of just Evita dying and a little bit of fascism, but great tunes. It's very much like now.
Yes.
And from then on, I got to leave. I got to get out of the bus. I got to go on the road in a UK touring production. And then when I came back, I had enough money that I could work.
That got you started.
It's always that.
So you've come a long way.
Yeah. I mean, I was just a weird little kid at high school and I got bullied terribly. It was real rough. I mean, my high school in Melbourne's famous for having Stephen Hooker, the pole vaulter, and Thomas Sewell, the far right racist guy who's like a neo-Nazi. And me. What a wonderful smorgasbord.
I mean, what a school reunion.
I know. Isn't that the school reunion? You're right. So, I came from there and I moved to London on a one-way ticket because I wasn't getting any gigs here. And I just went there, landed, got into that, was at rock bottom in that place. And now I'm here chatting to you. It's a very big ride.
Yeah. I mean, this obviously is the pinnacle talking to us.
Every single one of you. Mainly because this one's not here. I sometimes really do pinch myself thinking back to what it was in London or what I was here in Australia and how far it's all come to be on stage in front of 2,500 people dressed in gold every night. You know, getting standing ovations.
Yeah.
It's bloody great.
Well done.
It's mint, mate.
Well done. Next time you're in town, come back and see us again. The door is always open, especially if you bring us balls.
Thank you. Your balls.
Reuben, Kaye, the star of Jesus Christ Superstar. Just a few more shows. When do you finish up? Is it this
just
weekend?
a few more shows. It's next week is our last week.
Yeah, okay.
So it's this week and next week.
Next week, yeah.
Come see us. Come get an eyeful.
Oh, hello. Thank you, Reuben.
It's the Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
At the moment, if you have caught sunrise over the last couple of days, Sam Mack, the weather guy, great guy, he is in the Cook Islands.
Yeah, we always talk about Sam Mack because he does so much travel, Nat, and whilst on TV it looks like, oh, how good, like he's in all kinds of North Queensland, he's everywhere. And we all think, no, you don't realise how hard he's working.
And he does have to get up very early because of course it's breakfast TV. But he posted, I follow him on Instagram, and he posted yesterday, there's a picture of him on a jet ski Quickie, and there's a picture of him lying on a sun lounger with a cocktail, 2 cocktails, one in each hand. There's an aerial picture of the Cook Islands. There he is by the plunge pool.
Oh, that's nice.
And look at the beach. Like
it's unbelievable.
Honestly, genuinely looks gorgeous. There he is under a palm tree. And there is, another cocktail and a flower behind his ear, another palm tree. Oh, and a hammock, the sunset hammock shot. And he has the caption is, it's becoming increasingly difficult to convince people, and he's put in brackets, i.e. Rebecca James, who's his partner, that this is, in fact, a work trip. And I'm like, the hammock is the one for me. And the hammock and the jet ski, I think, it is hard to write that off as a work trip. And when you're the partner at home with, they have 2 children under 2. Yeah. And she's like, while he's on a jet ski,
it's a tough sell.
Islands.
It's a real
I know
tough
that you can turn on the TV and see objectively that he is working, but also at the same time, he's not doing the late night, wake up to feed the baby, and you'd just be like, I wouldn't be happy in that scenario, Sean.
No, that happened at my household a lot, I think, over the journey.
Because, you would obviously travel to play football, but then once the football, you could argue, I guess you could argue that that's work. And but then after that, you guys would go out.
Yes. I would always say that the footy trip was mandatory. So.
At the
I had to
end
go
of
on a holiday after,
trip.
Yeah.
And no, it's a team thing. We have to go.
Most of those years, I would have had really young children. Like when I was in Las Vegas, I think Sonny was probably under a year old. And that wouldn't go down too well. Actually, it gets brought up quite often to this day. You would have heard it before, Megan sledging me about being in another country.
She calls me every night. And when we had to go to Sydney for the Radio Awards, not last year, the year before, and we had to do a photo shoot. There was a bit of stuff going on, and it was a work trip.
Yeah, it was.
But you did spend like the morning in a helicopter on a scenic flight.
Oh, well, I did, but I did take you the day before on a great tour around Sydney Harbour with our friends.
Yeah.
We had an absolute belter.
Yeah, we did. We both lost our sunglasses. That's how good it was.
So I took photos of those things and video when I was also up in the harbour going around in a helicopter ride, and I didn't dare put them on Instagram until I just talked to Megan about what the setup was.
Like, please don't tag me in anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was
so hard to.
It is tough to argue it's a work trip.
Yeah,
and I know, just recently the Live Golf was on, and I know there were guys from here who went over to Adelaide. Purportedly, it's a work trip, but then you see everybody just living it up at the Live Golf and having the best time ever in Adelaide, and you're like, it's a work trip. Work trips are the best.
They are the best.
When you're on them.
Yeah,
when you're the person at home just going, are you joking me? And you're having the constant conversation with the partner who's going, no, this is work.
This is exactly what we want to talk about now.
Heather's in Aluka. Hi, Heather.
Hi guys. How are you?
Good, great, Heather. Okay. Was it you who took the work trip or what happened?
It was.
Oh, okay. Talk us through it.
So our company was up for some awards in Esperance. We're based in Perth, but the awards evening was in Esperance. And the company had said that they would take partners along. But unfortunately, my husband, a FIFO worker, he was stuck away.
Yeah. Yep.
So he was stuck in like odd 48 to 52 degree heat.
Whoa.
Well, not only did I get to go to Esperance for an awards evening, because he couldn't come, I got to take my best friend with me.
Oh, so it's like Girls Gone Wild in Esperance.
So it was. I got to bring her with. We went, and during the day we went to all the brilliant beaches.
Yes.
We got to take photos of crystal blue waters.
Yeah.
We went for drinks. Then we went out for the awards evening. Then afterwards we went partying and dancing.
Straight down the Pier Hotel. Don't worry,
yes,
I know.
Exactly. Yeah, and the snake pit. Maybe not so good, the snake pit. And then we're telling my husband, no, it was all for work. It was all networking.
Yeah, it's a tough sell when he knows he's sitting in this dong and 52 degree heat at night.
Right.
You guys are out in the sauce.
And you're skipping along the beach with the kangaroos. Beautiful.
That's right. He was like, I'm not convinced this was any work-related function at all.
Heather, why on earth was the awards night held in Esperance?
Because it's master builders,
right.
The construction industry, for the different regions, they hold them.
Okay.
Yeah, Esperance, a little bit strange, but anyway, I'm not complaining.
No,
definitely not.
Yeah, exactly. No, you did very well. All right, thanks, Heather. Lisa's in Heathridge. Hello.
Good
Morning.
Okay.
Hi, Lisa.
Talking about,
Hi.
and we use inverted commas, work trips. What have you got for us?
They were work trips.
Yes.
When I had my kids, I went back to work part-time as a travel agent, and part of our job is to go to different places in the world on educational trips to check them all out. So when my babies were little, I had to go to the Maldives, and I think
For work, got it.
I know. It was a work trip.
Yeah, no, we know. We know how hard you worked, and those cocktails you were
Absolutely.
working. Yeah.
Well, I mean, someone's got to bring in the bread and butter, right?
Yeah, and also you're
also
servicing
did-
your clients by testing these things out. You can't recommend it without
100%.
knowing it, can you?
I'm such a giver. I also went on a scenic river cruise from Amsterdam to Budapest.
Oh, my God.
I know. I know.
Lisa, how often were these coming up when you were working there? Because I'd imagine there'd be some that you'd have to knock back because it'd be taking the piss, wouldn't it?
It wouldn't be taking the piss.
No,
but
she's
it
working,
would
Sean.
be-
How dare
there
you?
was some, yeah, exactly. I mean, if it was a man, people wouldn't be asking these questions, would they? Leaving
No.
their babies at home.
That is a great point.
No, probably once or twice a year. So, yeah, there were some really good ones. But, when you've got an 18-month and a 3-year-old at home, it was really, really, really good. I loved every second of it, and I definitely appreciated my work trip. But my husband was super supportive. Not one word said. If anything, he was my cheerleader. It was my mum.
Oh,
right.
What, so what was she's having a crack?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, there was a lot of inverted commas work trip, roll your eyes.
Oh, yeah.
And, the mums at the school pickup would give you heaps of stick as well, like a linguist, yes. But, there was definitely a lot of explaining to people a lot. This is work.
This is a work trip.
Definitely. I mean, you do work in the industry, so it is evidence. Do you know what I mean? Like, if it's just a work because you're going to a conference, it's a little harder to argue, but she's a travel agent.
It's amazing. I've run into the travel agent down in Dunsborough when I've been on holidays. I've used a few times.
Yes.
Anita Ness. Hello, Anita, and her team. But every time you have a question about anywhere in the world, she's got the answer
She
in all
knows,
these
'cause
different
she's been
places.
there.
I think that is the best job. Now, by the way, you'd be amazing at this job. You've travelled extensively.
It does seem like it's tailor-made for me.
It is.
So nice to know I've got something to move on to when the radio goes belly up.
One of my friends, he is in the finance game, and he got into surfing a few years ago, and he's really started getting passionate about it. And some of the people that he ran into at different events that were in the same industry were into it as well. They had kind of a connection. So they all got together and decided that if they worked out if I think it's 7 different businesses would be required to show up to an event to call it a conference. And if you do that, then it's all tax deducted.
Of course it is.
So they organised a trip,
A
work conference at a place called Latitude Zero Resort. And it's in the Tallow Islands. And I've looked at this so much,
is
right? So
Indonesia, yeah?
Yeah, this is in Indonesia, off Indonesia. And to stay at this place is about $8,000 a week. That's not including flights to Indonesia.
Yes, so presumably you got to fly to Jakarta and then onwards, yeah?
Yep, so they were able to get there as long as they had some person who they caught up on a day, which they did. They were all together all day, right? So, but they had to
Somebody
sit down.
had to be the guest speaker for the day.
Well, and then they had to write down minutes of their trip every single day.
Yes, to prove that it was a work trip. But really, they just went surfing for most of the day.
All of it, yeah. My friend was saying that he's surfed a few times. He surfed 3 times a day, and in between that, he ate and slept. That was it.
Sean, we need a radio conference.
So we definitely need a radio conference. Once again, it's going to be a tough sell to my wife, but we'll do it.
Jared's in Alkimos. Morning, Jared.
Morning, guys. How are you guys?
Hey, Jared.
Great, Jared. Now, have you been on and I use inverted commas, work trip?
I sure have. We got all expenses paid for business class flights to Germany. And we got to tour over all of Germany, Austria, a little bit of Italy.
Yeah.
Even got to do the Oktoberfest there at the same time.
For work? What work are you in, Jared?
I'm in the timber flooring game.
Yeah, wow. What a junket. Sounds amazing.
How does that work?
One of our suppliers are in Germany.
Yeah.
And it's like they do that every year. They send you over for a bit of a work trip, which is insisting. I was there for 2 weeks, and I got probably half a day of a tour of the factory where it's made, and the rest of it was like just go nuts.
The rest was Oktoberfest. Yeah, we
Stein after Stein.
How did that go down at home?
Well, the wife and 2 kids at home didn't love it because she's been begging me to take her to Europe, so didn't go down well. But I promised her the next one I can take her with her.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, sure. Until they're like, there's been budget cuts, you can't bring any partners, you know.
That's it. Sorry, you're in you're not first class or business class this year. You're in the back with everyone else.
Or you're in business, she's in economy, yeah?
Yeah, that's it.
Gee, that'd go down real well.
To get that across the line, isn't it? Oh, Jared, amazing.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'd like to do that.
It's a work trip.
Yeah, God.
Please.
Nathan, Nat and Shaun is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.